Are you recording? You're recording?
Yeah.
You're recording?
Go.
So this is the physicalities of the Rebel T5. We're going to start with the overview of the outside of this camera, what you need to know. First thing would be how to turn it on, and that seems really obvious, but there's an on-off switch. When you put it in the bag, turn it to off because it can wake itself up and wear the battery down. So right now we're going to turn the camera on. Okay. Next thing we need to know is how to hold this thing. So I want all of you to take your left hand, and I'll face away from you, and bring it up like this, like a pallet. Okay, you want to bring it up and you want to set it like this. Okay, and you're basically making an L and laying it flat. You place the camera inside that L and you set it on your palm like this. It's always left hand, always flat and open like this. Then you take your index finger and your thumb and you're able to rotate the lens. So you basically operate the camera with one hand. Your right hand comes over the top, index finger here to the shutter release, and it wraps around. And you'll notice that when you freely let go, the camera's designed to hang in your hand like this. So if you want to shoot vertically, you're going to brace it like this, operate the lens with your forefinger and your thumb, and your right finger is your trigger finger. Okay. Next thing we want to look at up close is the trigger finger. This is the shutter release on an SLR, and if you notice, I'll partially depress this, and you'll hear the lens adjust and focus. So I'll do it again. When it adjusts and beeps, this partial depression is really important. Okay, what it does is wakes the camera up and it focuses as well. So we're going to look at that in a subsequent video or later on. Other overview stuff that you need to know right now. On the back side, you'll see a whole bunch of buttons here. This menu you can toggle through has a whole bunch of settings that really we're not going to get into. Things to be aware of, like staying away from. Formatting the card would delete all of the photos on the card. That would only be if it's full and everything's been imported off of the card. So you should steer away from that normally. There's lots of room on this card, so there's no real need to do that. And otherwise, there's some settings here. For the most part, we're going to stay out of the menu functions. The only other thing we could change is the image size if we wanted to scale this down. And you'll see right now, we have a huge card in here. We can shoot 1,937 photos on this card. But if we scale it down to a medium JPEG, we can shoot 3,600, so almost double. And we'd probably still have a very high resolution image. Yeah, an 8 megapixel image, 3,400 by 2,300 for pixels. So it would be plenty good. So we're going to leave that on the large setting, and we can always scale it down later. Other things you should be aware of that you may need to use, the picture review button is right here. So if I want to look at my pictures that I've taken, and right now I'm getting a full display. Are you getting like just this in the frame? You can move in even closer if you want. I'm getting a full display of the histogram, which is the exposure, the picture that we took, as well as a bunch of information about the picture, the shutter speed and stuff. If I hit this display button right here, that'll actually change what I'm seeing, and most of the time you're probably interested in that right there. And then I would just hit the left or right arrow to arrow through these. And we'll look at this example in a little bit. This would be some rack focusing, which means we're focusing from the back here at what's up at Liv, to the middle, to the front of Olivia in those three photos. And we're just toggling through these. And again, that's the display button to look at different versions. Probably going to be on this one or this one to look at the images. Okay, and other things on here, the pop-up for the flash is right here. So if I hit that button, it automatically pops up the inboard flash. This dial right here, we're going to spend a little time on. Normally I'm going to encourage you to shoot on the program setting or have it on P. If you're unsure and you want to shoot full auto, you can use the automatic. If you're shooting a sports event, you would dial over to the little runner person, the sports runner. Those are probably the three primary settings that we're going to look at. And then the other one here is video. So if we switch over to video, you just heard the shutter go up and it gives you a live feed. Now it's a totally different deal. If I partially depress the button, it's going to focus the camera. Other physicalities that you should be aware of, this side. You can check these and make sure they're good. Image stabilization is a good thing, so we want this on. And autofocus is a good thing. If the camera won't focus, this might be slid over to manual. So when we hit this button, I gotta change back here. Nothing's happening, it won't come into focus. Normally this is never gonna get changed. And then one other thing here, your range of focus. So can you see the 18 right there?
Yep.
18 is like a very wide angle for 18 millimeter focus. All the way over to 55 is the most zoom that it has. 55 millimeter is really close to what the human eye sees for a zoom. So you rotate that to zoom in and out, and we'll see some of that through the viewfinder in a little bit. So a few more things on the physical. First of all, how to hold it as a professional instead of an amateur. Much safer to have this around your neck. And then what you do is tuck your right arm through, and you can actually use this as a triangulation or a bracing, a support. So when you pull this up, it's going to help you stabilize it. Okay, and then you wear it across your chest, and it's safe in the center of your body. Okay. Other things to be aware of on this. On the bottom, to access the card and the camera, there's a tab right here that you have to put your fingernail into and pull down and then out, and it'll open up. It's got a little locking detent there. To take the battery out, you push this gray trigger to the side, and it's spring loaded, it pops out. You can slide it out of there. There's little charging feet right there, contact points, and they go into this charger like this, and it drops in place, okay? And then pick it out of here like this. As a rule with the charger, we should charge this in the classroom, and Miss Nelson, I would just leave this behind your desk, and if the battery dies, it dies. But if you send this home in the bag, somebody's gonna leave this thing plugged into their kitchen for 4 months, forget about it, you'll never see it again, okay? Other access in here, so as far as how to put the battery back in, there's an arrow right here. Can you see that reflective arrow? Yep, okay, that goes in, and these contact points face down. Can you see inside there? Turn this light on once. Is there an option for a light anywhere? No. Normally there is. Anyway, okay, so there's contact points. This is going to slide in this way. Lock in, okay. The other thing that's critical to access in here is the SD card. So you're going to push this SD card in with your fingernail. It's going to pop out, and then you slide it out of here. It only goes in one way. Notice it has a clipped corner in the upper right hand, and that matches the little clipped corner that says push eject. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Solid, very solid. Do not put it in backwards, okay? If this happens once, it wrecks the camera. Don't force it, never force it, okay? Clipped corner to the right, goes into this slot, and then it's spring loaded, so it pushes in, you listen to it, and it locks in place. Close the door, we're good to go. This is a tripod mount, that's probably pretty obvious. And there was one more thing that I wanted to show, but I don't remember what it was. Lens to remove it would be right here. Push this lock in and remove it in case it ever came loose. Sometimes you can hit that, and then you line up the white dots right here. Those are the indicators for the lens. So the white dots, rotate it clockwise till it locks. Sometimes people will hit this and it'll be like in the middle and the lens won't function properly, so just rotate the base till it locks in. You would only do that if you needed to switch lenses or if it wasn't functioning properly. Those are the primaries that I think you have to be worried about on the outside of the camera. This button right here is a live view, so if I wanted to shoot like an amateur, like some kind of a tourist, and hold the camera like this, this is what I could do, is use the live view, and what you may be used to like on a phone, okay? But then if I partially depress the button, it's going to focus in on her and take this picture. Okay, what I'm going to encourage you to do is shoot like a budding professional. Make your platform, lay your camera in here, okay, come over the top with your index finger and look through the viewfinder so you can frame up the subject properly and take that great pic. Scene.